Good day, Rwanda, good day, Kigali, and good day to you, and thank you for checking us out. It's the second episode of the Hip Rwanda podcast, and for those returning, the friends of the podcast, thank you so much. First-time listeners, you are most welcome. We're happy to have you. For those of you listening for the first time, the Hip Rwanda podcast is the first and only hospitality industry podcast in Rwanda, and the number one spot for you to get all your news and information about anything to do with the hospitality industry. We review hotels and restaurants, so we talk about everything that's up and coming for the consumers. We also discuss a few things for the workers in the hospitality industry. We also have a recruitment segment on our show, and every week we'll also have a guest. This week is a continuation on from last week. Last week we met Mr. Jimy Mugabo, who will join me in the last part of this show to discuss our recruitment segment. And last week we heard where his organization, Rwanda Quality Talent, arranges for Rwandese to go over to the Jersey Islands in the UK to get international experience. This week, our guest is one of those members of staff that he has taken over. So we're going to hear more about what we were discussing with Jimy last week. So super excited about that, and I really think this is going to be absolutely valuable to you. But it is Monday, the 20th of June, 2022, a date that I think anyone who lives in Rwanda has been seeing every day for, well, the last number of years. We've had 2 cancellations. It is now, it is today, it is D-Day, CHOGM 2022, Rwanda, it's time to shine. What a great day. So exciting for everyone. I'm sure all the hospitality workers are already so tired from all the preparation that they've probably had to do over the last week or two. And now today, it's the big game. It starts. And I think the first place to start is some really great news. Obviously, it came out last week while I was recording episode 1, is that the schools have closed for this week. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So for those of us who are just trying to go about our day in between CHOGM 2022, for those of you who have kids, that's one less bit of traffic that we have to worry about. I'm really certain that's going to be make the world of difference for a lot of people around the city. So fantastic move. And I really hope everyone benefits from that. For those of you who are still today, right now, trying to get to work, like we said last episode, just stick with it. This is 1 week. Things are a little bit crazy, but the positives that come out of hosting this event there's just no reason to be too upset by the traffic. With that said, very important, like I said in my first episode, if I get some news around road closures, and I think it came out a day or two after we posted the first episode, if you go to the Rwandan National Police website, it's police.gov.ru, you will get detailed information on where the roads are closed. I have downloaded those 2 pieces of information, and you can get on the website hiprwanda.com, or you can email us if you have any questions, hiprwanda@gmail.com. So it is quite evident there are road closures. What looks to be really fantastic is every single day the National Police will be putting on any additional, they'll basically be putting on a daily road closure or traffic announcement. So I'm pretty sure either early hours of the morning or late in the evening before, you could go to the National Police website or come to our site. As soon as we have it, we'll download it and post on our site as well. You can plan for the next day. Certain days, obviously certain other roads will be closed and others will not. This is based on what's going on and what's planned for that particular day of CHOGM. But that's as negative as we're going to get. The traffic is going to be a bit difficult for some of us. Let's just, be positive. Let's get past it. On that note, obviously it must be said, the main road where you'll find the Sheraton, the Marriott, and the Serena, just stay away. If you have nothing to do with CHOGM and you really don't have any business being in that area, just stay away from there. Then this way, you're not disappointed by, traffic blocks, and also you're not contributing to blocking the traffic. So let's start talking about all the great things we can start looking forward to. Like I've mentioned before, I'm not going to spend any time really talking about the CHOGM 2022 events. If you'd like to know about those, you can go to the CHOGM 2022 RW website and find out all about that. we'll be discussing more of the events, the after events, or the side events that are more hospitality driven. And there is a whole host of things that you guys can get up to this week. And I really hope that you really do support these events. Not only will you have chances of meeting people from all over the world, but it's also really good to show that, in Rwanda, we are interested in CHOGM 2022, and, being at these events and showing support for Rwanda while we are hosting CHOGM 2022 is really, really important. But we have got some really awesome events going up. And again, we have all the information on our website, but you can also go to chogm2022.rw to get the social and sporting event information. So what we have coming up for this week are some really great looking events. And like we're saying, it's really important that if you can, just get out and try support these events as much as you can. The first two events, the first one from the 20th to the 25th being the CHOGM Street Festival. We discussed that last week. This will be up at the Car Free Zone in town, just outside of BK. You can go to the kigalifarm.com website to get some more information. They will be taking a fee at the gate, but somewhere you can just go and have a really great time. This is from 12 p.m., so from noon all the way through to 9 p.m. at night. Then we have the Kigali People's Festival. This will be at the Nyamurumba and Kismenti Car Free Zones. This is from the 20th to the 26th of June, from 4 p.m. all the way through to midnight. So between the CHOGM Street Festival and the Kigali People's Festival, every day this week coming, there's really a great place for you to go. Go check out the vibe. There will almost certainly will be food and drinks at all of these places. Great place to meet locals if you currently have a tourist in Rwanda for CHOGM. And these are going to be absolutely great events. And what's amazing about them is they go until quite late at night. So even if you still have to work, you can go home, get your dinner, and maybe go out just for an hour or two. Take them. I would suggest if it's something that you're happy to do, I would suggest taking a moto around. Again, just to help with bringing the traffic down. And then, go check out one of these two awesome events that's going to be happening throughout the whole week. And I'm absolutely certain it's going to be amazing. Then we have on the 21st of June, the Kigali Night Run. This will be starting from Kigali Heights. It is a 5K run, or I think it's 5.5K run. And again, you can go and register for that. And the URL that you can go to do that registration is on the sporting and social events PDF that we have on our website, and is also on the chogm2022.rw website. So for those of you who like the runs and who want to keep a bit fit, go and check that out as well. Then something that's super exciting to me, and we will talk a little bit more about just general news, but cricket has come up just a little bit at the moment, but there is a tournament at Gahanga Cricket Stadium on the 23rd of June 2022. However, if you go to the website itself, obviously they do mention that they will be doing an event throughout the whole week. So we'll take a look at that now. And the main event is on the 23rd of June. It will showcase the best male and female players in Rwanda alongside other high-profile players from around the Commonwealth. That sounds exciting. You can go check this out on the Global Events .Africa website, and again, the link for this cricket event you can go check out on the PDF that we have on our website. But it seems as if there is going to be an event stretching also out throughout the whole week at Gahanga and on Gahanga Cricket Stadium, and on the 23rd it'll culminate in basically the main event where you can watch some of the national male and females of the national teams play. And you'll be able to participate, which is absolutely fantastic. You'll be able to do some drills on the field. I've played a cricket match at Gahanga Stadium. I think it's, again, a lovely venue. It's also probably one of the greatest stadiums for spectating cricket, because it's not very big or high stands. So you're not very far away from the center of the cricket field. So it seems like you're really close and very close into the action, which is really great for spectating cricket. So go and check that out. For those of you who don't know too much about cricket or you're a bit inquisitive, this is definitely the place that you want to be. And then we have towards the end of the week the networking golf tournament. This will be obviously at the golf course. And let me take you through exactly what you can expect there. This will be an 18-hole Stableford format. Prizes will also be given to different categories. Participants are required to pay a fee of 180 USD, which will cover the green fees and include prize giving, a cocktail with local food and entertainment during the day. So guys, I mean, for those of you who do play golf, $180 for a basically international tournament, with people from all around the world. You'll have food, you'll have entertainment. $180, really not too bad. So for those of you who can, I would suggest going to go take a look. And for those who are not really interested in playing golf but do want to go to the networking session and the cocktail party afterwards, you can also get access to that at $100. I think I do also just need to backtrack and go back to the cricket. You can obviously go up and watch the cricket if you want to participate and actually play in the exhibition match and be on the field. That'll be $150. So also really not a bad price for those who are really into cricket and maybe want to mingle with, some of the national male and female players. What an exciting opportunity. Absolutely fantastic. So there is so much going on the social side, on the hospitality side of CHOGM. I really think that all of us in Rwanda, we can definitely find something that, depending on our budget, we can go play a round of golf, or we can go to one of the great street festivals, which costs us basically nothing. There's so much to do this week for CHOGM 2022. So to all the hospitality workers, thank you very much for all the hard work that I'm sure that you and your establishments have been through just to prepare for this and to make sure that this week is going to be an absolute success. And even more importantly, to all the city workers. So absolutely everyone, it's not just at the conference centers and at the hotels and the restaurants and all the event spaces where CHOGM happens. It was so great to see all the flags that were put up around some of the main roads. The city looks absolutely beautiful. So whatever your job has been to contribute to this amazing CHOGM 2022 event, that is whether you, again, driving a bus. We saw those great bus stops that have been built recently, whether you're picking up litter, whatever it is that you're doing to make CHOGM 2022 success. I thank you. I think the people of Rwanda Kigali should thank you. We thank the city of Kigali for doing such a great job. So good luck for the week, and we know you guys are going to knock it out the park and make us absolutely proud. So, ladies and gentlemen, again this week, like last week, we will not have a hotel review. As we said last week, and I think it's only fair to step out of the way, let the hotels do the big job that they have to do this week. And so from next week, we'll have our very first hotel review. Last week, we did review a restaurant. This week, I'm not going to review a restaurant either. Like I say, it's just, I think, a good idea just to stay out the way of these establishments who are just trying to make sure that they can provide the best service to our CHOGM 2022 guests. However, I do have some news on a restaurant, and I think it's a nice time to sort of discuss a little bit about the other part of my podcast and what I do. So I have the Hospitality Link podcast, and this podcast, as we've said, is dedicated to the hospitality industry. I also have my own hospitality consultancy where I assist only privately owned businesses. I don't really deal with big name brands and branded hotels, but I assist with small operations, hotels and restaurants who might need any assistance with either opening or training. And I've had something in the works for a while, and I'm assisting a certain establishment who will open up to be a new restaurant. And I thought, because I don't have a hotel review or a restaurant review, I can at least start, and I'll be dedicating 5 minutes every week to this, to let you know about this particular project. I'm very excited about it. I don't have a big role within the project. I'm just assisting someone, really just to get the look and feel of what they're trying to do. The project is pretty advanced and far along in where it is. So opening should be within the next month and a half. And what I thought I would do is, we're currently at the situation where we're kind of looking at some meals or the menus and looking at plating and just sort of finalizing the look and feel of the place. I can tell you this is going to be one of the most unique spots to get a meal in Rwanda. I can't say too much about it, but what I do have this week, if you go to the blog post for this episode, I have got some photographs of the food that we tested. I tasted the food, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. This is a very unique type of operation, and as the weeks go by, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more and a little bit more. But so for this week's hotel and restaurant review, I don't really have one for you, but you can go to the blog post, and under the restaurant review, you'll have an insight to something new that's coming. And I really think that most of Kigali are going to be super excited about this. I do know that especially when something new opens, everyone in the city wants to go and check it out. And the reason why I thought I'd also bring this to you is please go to the blog post and give us feedback. Let me know what you think about the plating and the meals that you see in the photographs. And let us know, what do you want out of a new restaurant? Do you think that there's something that's happening right now, something that's not happening at all within the restaurant space, something that needs to be done, a gap in the market? And, if we get that feedback, I'll take it to the people who are opening the new restaurant that's coming up, and we'll see if we can include that so we can maybe make the space slightly influenced by the demand of the city. Another great thing to note about this place is it's also going to be a fantastic event space, and it's going to be at a price point where it is affordable to everybody. This is not a big space that you have to spend a large amount of money to book out, and it's going to be basically focused on an intimate dining experience. This is a place that when you arrive there, your experience is going to be number one. The food is going to be absolutely fantastic. The place itself is set up to amaze you. It is a space that you're going to want to spend a significant amount of time in. So it's not going to look like an average restaurant. It is going to have more of an art feel to it. And the last thing that I can mention is that the food itself, the focus in this food is a significant drive in healthy comfort food. So this is a place that makes food that is just going to make you feel at home. You're going to have an absolutely fantastic time, but it is made with just a little bit of health in mind. So you can actually go out to this place and have a good meal and not feel a little bit too guilty. We do know that most of the reasons why food tastes so good in all these great restaurants is that there's a lot of butters and salts and oils that makes all these good things taste fantastic. This place is not going to be trying to eliminate that completely, but just trying to be a little bit more responsible in the way that it makes its dishes. And this is the first thing that I found when I tried the dishes that you'll see on our blog post. They were absolutely delicious. But at the end of the meal, I didn't feel heavy. I didn't feel weighed down. They were both very light meals. And it is very, very obvious that this kitchen is trying to bring you that hearty comfort food and also bring you that feeling of responsibility in what you are eating. And the last thing I'll say about this place is that a lot of the produce that is in the meals that I've tried have come from the same property as to where the restaurant is. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's it for this week. I promise you, every week we will update on our blog post. I'll bring you a little bit of information. I'll share a little bit more secrets. And when we get closer to opening on this podcast listeners will get early access to the social media links of the restaurant, early access to the naming of the restaurant, to the menu. Listeners of this podcast will know first before anyone else where the restaurant is and when it will be open. And you will get a promo code to use at the restaurant for a discount. I'll give you a little bit more information about that. So stick to hiprwanda.com. This is what we do. We don't just bring you news. We'll bring you deals. We'll bring you insider information. You'll know first before everybody else. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us on to the guest for the week. I'm super excited about this. Last week, we spoke to Jimy Mugabo, who was in the Jersey Islands. He still is there right now, and he has a recruitment operation, Rwanda Quality Talent, and he obviously assists local hospitality entities with staffing. And he also has an initiative where he has some Rwandese who are going over to the Jersey Islands and getting that international work exposure. What we have for you this week is one of those candidates that he has taken over. She is joining us this week. I'm so super excited to speak with her. We're going to be speaking with Diane Usanase. And like last week, unfortunately, because obviously they are overseas, we have to do the interview via Zoom. So I do apologize for the audio quality, but the content of the conversation is absolutely fantastic. So for those of you who are thinking about contacting Jimy and looking for that somewhere we can get international exposure, today you get to hear from one of those people who took that opportunity, and they'll let you know exactly what the whole journey has been like. So enjoy. Okay, welcome, Diane. So nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm absolutely honored that you could join us. Obviously, we spoke with Jimy last week, and I've been really hoping to bring someone who's currently where you are and to hear just a little bit about how that experience has been. But before we discuss that, why don't you just let the listeners know who you are, just a little bit about yourself and a bit about what you've done in the past.
Well, I'm called Diane Usanase, and I went to Aquila Institute of Women. I studied hospitality management, and I also had a chance to work in hotels in Kigali, like Land Legacy hotels, and I also got a chance to work in the event planning companies, and I did some translating, part-time jobs, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so tell me, how long have you been over there in the Jersey Islands?
I've been here for 2 months now.
Okay, and how are you enjoying it?
Well, I love it so much, and I get to learn and to also have a very new experience and change.
Oh, fantastic. I know, again, last week we were discussing what Jimy does and exactly the positives and the reasons why people would probably want to go over there and get that international experience. But I think before we touch on that, if you don't mind, just sort of let us know what the process was. So where were you? How do you end up in Jersey Island? Just tell us that story.
Well, at first I was in Rwanda and I was unemployed, and that's when Jimy talked to me about an open opportunity, and then I thought about it, obviously, and then I told him, yeah, I would take the opportunity. Then we did the interview for the job, and after the interview, they gave me a response where I had gotten the job. And after a few days, they gave me an offer letter, which comes with the work permit that allows you to work here in Jersey, but you still need to get it before when you're still in Rwanda. And after the work permit came, it was starting for the applying for the visa and to get some tests done for like TB and to also get criminal records for me, because with applying for the visa, you need to have the criminal record, which you apply for at Ilembo. And then we went on with the tickets, and then that's how I reached here in Jersey. And when I reached here, I started working after 2 days, because they give you time to first settle in and for relax because of the flight and everything, and then you start the next day or maybe the day after. Yeah, that's how I got here.
Okay, and tell me, did you have a passport already, or did you also have to get your passport?
Yeah, I had my passport already.
Okay, I think that's also a very good point to note for the listeners. Obviously, for anyone within the hospitality industry and who's listening to this and is very interested in this process and getting international exposure, before you even interested in contacting Jimy, you need a passport. So it's very good to note that it doesn't mean if you don't have a passport, it's not possible. But just because, especially if you work in the hospitality industry, you should have a passport regardless, because you don't know what opportunities might come up. So it's a very good point that you make, that you already had your passport. So that's great. So obviously the employer provides your flight ticket and you fly over there, and then they still give you some time to settle in and find your feet before you start working.
Yeah, and I didn't have to get stressed about it or worried about it or anything, because Jimy helped me with all the process. So I really did less other than providing the information that was required.
Oh, fantastic. So let's talk about the cool stuff. So you've been there 2 months. Have you traveled internationally before?
No, this was my first time to travel.
Yeah, so I can hear you smiling when you say that. I remember the first time I left South Africa. The first time you leave across your home borders, it's probably the scariest, but the most exhilarating experience because you don't know what you're going to expect. So tell us what it's like. You're in the plane, it takes off, you land. Where does the plane land? Do you land straight in Jersey Islands, or is it on the mainland and you ferry across, or?
No, well, I took the flight from Rwandan to Heathrow Airport in London, then from London to Jersey. But but it was an exciting and scary moment at the same time. Well, with Rwandan, I cancelled like last minute. So my other flight had to be delayed. So when I reached the Heathrow Airport, I had like the whole night to watch and learn and look at a lot of things, which was a great experience.
That's fantastic. So then you get tell us, where exactly are you working now? So you're in Heathrow. From there you go across to Jersey Islands. You get off the plane. Tell us that experience. Where do you stay? Where are you working? How do you find the environment? How is the weather? Is it cold?
Well, today it's cold, but few days ago it was really, really hot. I couldn't take it, but now it's cold. Today it's really cold. So from the Jersey airport, they came to pick me up, and I was offered a place to stay at the guest house I'm working for. So I live in the guest house also, which is really, really great. I don't have to take a bus or maybe walk. So it's just around there. So when I reached, that's when I got to settle in and everything. And it was really beautiful. It's a small island that has beautiful places and really, really nice people that are very helpful with every question that you have. You can ask them and they will answer you. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. And tell me, what are your hours of work like? So, how many days do you work in a week? How many hours a day?
I work 6 days. I get 1 day off. I work for 5 hours or 8 hours. It depends.
Okay.
But most times it's 5 hours.
Okay. So then tell me, so what are you doing? I know you're only there for 2 months, but what are you doing in your downtime? What is your most favorite thing to do? Are you exploring the island? Tell us a bit about your time off while you're there.
My time off is to explore and see places that I haven't seen yet, and to kind of like get lost and use the Google map to get back home and everything.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty certain. I've never been to Jersey. I've never been to the UK, but I would imagine the Jersey Islands being a little bit small, that they don't bump into Rwandese every day. So, how was that experience when you, either while you're at work and you're dealing with guests, or you on a day off and you pop into a store and people ask you where you're from and you tell them, like, do they want to know everything about your country? Like, how's that experience been?
Well, that experience has been great because it's like me myself, I'm like a representative of Rwanda because they ask me where are you from and they have to talk about Rwanda, and at some point some people think it's maybe you being patriotic and everything, but when they look or search about Rwanda, they come back and tell you like, wow, the place was beautiful. We should go there for a visit. And I think it's really, really fun for me as well because I get time to like talk about my motherland and to have people know about it also.
And then I just wanted to ask, you said obviously you're staying at the guest house where you're working. So I would assume that's your accommodation. And do they provide you meals?
Yeah, they provide me meals, and it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's a really good deal because, especially for any of those who are listening and you're in the hospitality industry and you want to work abroad, with the best deal you always want to find yourself is where you have zero cost of living. So obviously you're earning a salary while you're over there, but you don't actually have to dig into it to live. You have a place to sleep. You're eating all day. You have three meals a day. So the money that you earn is yours. It's yours to bring back or to save. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, you're right.
That's really, really fun, because I do have a few friends who just after leaving hotel school, they went and worked abroad, and they got what seemed like pretty good offers, and then it ended up they had to pay for accommodation, and then they had to pay for electricity, and their meals weren't included. So the salary that looked so fantastic at the start, you end up with absolutely nothing. So it's really good to hear that they're looking after you there.
Yeah, they are. And it's a small hotel. It's a family-owned hotel, so yeah, they're really, really nice. And it's like it's in front of the beach, which makes it like amazing also, because I work looking right at the beach, so and after work I can go for a walk and relax my mind, so which is nice.
Well, it's quite strange you mentioned the beach, because every time I hear about the beach in the UK, and I know it's not like this everywhere, but my sister is in the UK, and me being from South Africa, our beaches have nice sand, but I know a lot of the beaches there have pebbles and rocks, so it's quite and the water's quite cold. How is the beach in Jersey Islands? Is it like a holiday beach destination, or is there sometimes where the beach is a bit too cold?
Not really. The beach is panoramic. It's beautiful, and because Jersey is small, there are not a lot of people, so we pretty much it's relaxing and quiet, and with really, really nice views.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. I think to end off the interview, I'd like you to maybe just take as much time as you want and address those who might be listening to this, considering, should I go, should I go? I know for a lot of people, even for me, leaving my home country for the first time, it was quite scary. Based on what you've experienced and how it's gone so far, what would you recommend for anyone considering doing what you've been doing?
Well, what I would like to say is to those that like to challenge themselves, I think this would be like a great opportunity, because you get to know yourself and how you work in different experiences, different communities, different environment and everything. And it's really a learning experience and a learning opportunity, because you keep learning, I guess, until you leave. It's always you have something to learn. Yeah, and you can bring it back in Rwanda and make it much better. It's a life-changing opportunity. It will be
Fantastic.
Because here life changes. In as a person, you also get time to grow and to know yourself much better, because you're basically here alone with mainly work and yourself, so you get to also know yourself. To those that think about like, when am I going to get time to like know myself and to work on myself? So yeah, that's about it.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that, and I'm excited for you. I can almost hear it in your voice. I know what it's like, especially if you've just been in a new place. It's just 2 months, and I think you are correct. Rwanda was probably the first place when, after leaving South Africa, where I spent the most time, and I did exactly that. I came over here by myself. I learned in a brand new country, and I learned a lot about myself, and I changed. So I wish you well on your journey, and I wish you absolutely the best. You are now a friend of the podcast. So, we are also pretty new in our journey, what we're doing here. This is only our second episode, and I would love to hear back from you as often as you'd want to check in with us. So if you ever have any news or anything you want to share with us on the podcast, you get in contact with me, and we'll gladly have you on again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, and I know Jimy just told me that you've just finished work, so I'm not going to keep you for too much longer. Go and relax and have a great evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great.
Thank you so much. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Diane Usanase. What a pleasure to interview. I can remember when I was that age and I'd left my country for the first time. You can hear the excitement in her voice with this new great adventure that she's having. And most importantly, that international experience is just coming all the way back here to Rwanda, and it's just going to grow the industry. So again, if anyone is out there listening and you want to maybe take advantage of this opportunity, obviously you need to contact Jimy. You can do that by getting in contact with us at hiprwanda@gmail.com, or go to hiprwanda.com. On our website, we have a place where you can subscribe, send us information, and we'll make sure that Jimy reaches out to you. And speaking of Jimy, he is coming up next and in the final segment of the show Obviously, like I've said, we'll be discussing recruitment. Jimy is a friend of the podcast. He'll be a set segment in every single episode. And we're just going to discuss a little bit further about recruitment opportunities. However, I've left this week's topic to discuss with Jimy. So before we bring up that interview, I thought I'd let you know that I thought because of CHOGM and we see all of these sporting events that are going on, I thought the topic I'd like to bring up is how is hospitality and sport in Rwanda doing? Or have we merged these two fantastic sectors together? Are we supporting each other? Is there sufficient support from hospitality towards the sporting sector? And is there sufficient support from the sporting sector towards hospitality? Because if there is two sectors and two industries that are just made to be merged together, is sports and hospitality. Sports helps hospitality. When we grow our sporting opportunities within the country, like we see these cricket events that are coming, these international cricket teams, they will stay at hotels. When the basketball event was happening, those players stay in the hotels. So it is absolutely important that hospitality and sport are working hand in hand to ensure that we are growing each other. And the same also, counts for hospitality. When these new sporting facilities and these sporting events are being put on by the city and the country, is the hospitality sector coming behind those and supporting them sufficiently? Do we have sufficient food and beverage at all of these events? Or do we as hospitality industry, do we just assume that, for example, when Gahanga Cricket Stadium gets an event, that the Gahanga Stadium will sort it out? So that's what I pose to you. That's my question. Get in touch with us. Let us know. What is your opinion of the sport and hospitality industry and their co-relationship? Do you think that there is sufficient going on between these two sectors, or where can we improve in bringing sport and hospitality together for the benefit of both of these sectors? So that'll lead us into the last segment for the day, bringing us up to Mr. Jimy Mugabo to discuss recruitment. Enjoy. Hey, Jimy, welcome back.
Thank you, Clayton. Happy to be back.
Always great to hear from you. Episode 2, we're growing, we're getting there. And to the listeners, as I promised, Jimy was a friend of the podcast. We're going to hear from him every single week in our recruitment segment. Jimy, we've just had Diane with us, had a chat about how she's finding things over there in the Jersey Islands. She sounds so excited. Only been there for 2 months. She sounds like she's settling in pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely, Clayton. He was happy to have her. I'm sure she was a bit tired after work, but I'm so happy that she made it. And definitely, as you said to our listeners, is that we will have some of the candidates featured in the podcast. So she is settling very well. She's working with an amazing family-owned hotel. They actually consider her just like their daughter or granddaughter. They're really nice, and they're helping her learn a lot. And it's in a very beautiful place, located in just one street across of the beach. And you can imagine in summer. So as she mentioned, it's a really good experience, good place to get challenged, but also to relax and see different things, meet different people. So she's settling in pretty well.
That's good. I know obviously you'll be back this Friday. So you've done very well. You've decided to make yourself scarce in Kigali during CHOGM. Very good move. I was actually just telling everyone, because obviously this is going out Monday morning, the 20th of June. And I was just telling all the listeners, if you don't have to go anywhere, don't get in your car. Just allow CHOGM to be, let the hospitality people have their moment. I commend those who have decided to just take a step back, don't be part of the congestion. So you in Jersey Islands, tell us, hey, what's going on there? And if there's anything you want to discuss around that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always beautiful here. It's a small place. I mean, for those who know me, I'm not a big fan of big city and craziness, really. So this is perfect. It's a small place. I consider it pretty similar to Rwanda because of the cleanliness, and it's quite organized, and definitely smaller than Rwanda. But I like that the people are nice, welcoming, and it has got the countryside, but also the amazing beach side. So you have all, you can have everything you really need. If you are someone who is passionate about sport, it's really good area to walk around or jog around, or you can even go, do some water sport or just relax and enjoy the beach. So it's pretty good. I will say that there's also, what's in the news is that there's elections coming up in the next week. So this coming week on Thursday, on Wednesday, that's when there will be elections. So this is just like a change of the existing government. So they're changing the ministers and the chief minister, who is, because it's a crown dependency, they don't have a president. So they have a chief minister, which is more like a prime minister. And then they will have also different people representing their parishes. So I think there are 12 parishes in all. So that's what's in the news. Another thing that is big, really, which the businesses are expecting the new government to do something about it, is really the staffing issue. So there's definitely a huge, and now it's getting to a point where it's been really called the crisis of employers not having enough staff, and this is across industries, across sectors. And it's not just the Channel Island. It's really like the whole UK. So Jersey being small and also being dependent on really people coming in and do some work, so it is quite suffering. Some businesses in hospitality mainly have closed because they can't get staff, and even in hospitals, healthcare, some flights also a bit. I think you might have heard in the UK some flight being cancelled because they don't have enough staff to deal with that. Post offices, retail, hotels and restaurants, and you name it. So that's really big on the agenda, and hopefully, I understand definitely is a huge thing for the new government to deal with. But hey, we are also working on solutions, definitely. So I think there is opportunity there for actually many enthusiastic and Rwandans to come and learn and earn a little bit more money and come back and help our country grow.
Yeah, I think just that last little bit that you said, for the listeners who aren't really paying much attention, here we have a place, we just heard from Diane, the great time that she's having. It's a great experience, and there is a staff shortage, and not just within the hospitality industry. And here we have someone who's on our podcast who deals with recruitment in this area. So all I'm going to say, if you are Rwandese and you do not have a passport, fix that problem tomorrow. Even though CHOGM is going on this week, I'm sure your local, just get yourself a passport, because especially because of COVID, there were many parts of the world that shut down and many parts of the world that didn't, and business have suffered. People have lost jobs, and everything sort of went upside down on its head. And now that everything's coming back to normal, you have these pockets and regions in the world, like where Jimy is now, where to find staff is just such a struggle. And that is just a golden opportunity for anyone who's looking for international experience. So would I be correct, Jimy, in saying that I know the last time in episode 1 we discussed, you said you had about 30 candidates there at the moment filling positions in Jersey Islands, that in the coming months there will be more opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that what you mentioned there, get your passport tomorrow. We live in this world where things happen, and I will say that as a youth or someone who is a grown-up, it's really important to have documents like a passport or criminal record, because you never know, really. You never know. It's easy, to travel around the world these days. Technology has made it even easier. So, there might be an opportunity, not necessarily in Jersey. It can be on any other part of the world. But when the opportunity comes and you're ready, then you just have to go with it. But sometimes the opportunity comes and you're not ready, and just skips you and go to those who are ready. I think it's just common sense to have some documents like that, and it's really vital, even if you're not planning to travel now. And there will be more opportunities. The world is, at some point, is this strange place where there might be some youth in Rwanda who are really talented and across Africa or other part of the world who are looking for opportunities to come to work and gain skills and make a little bit of money and, do good for themselves and their families. And then 10 hours away, for example, where I am now, there are actually employers who are struggling to find, those who are really willing to work and gain skills. So it's really strange. And I think that's why what I'm doing is pretty vital. And I love what I'm doing if I can be able to bridge that gap and manage to get those who are who deserve a great opportunity, who are willing to challenge themselves and take it to the next level to really get this sort of opportunities. So I would say there are more opportunities coming. And we are aiming to not have just 30 Rwandans, but add more zeros on that.
Yeah, and I think what is again for the listeners, what's very important to remember that what Jimy does is not just find people and take them over there. All right, there is a process. So just bear in mind that get your passport, have your documents in check. If you are, if you do qualify, if you correct me if I'm wrong, Jimy, you don't necessarily have to have been to a hotel school, but you must at least be able to demonstrate sufficient experience. Maybe you might have worked for the last 5 years in a hotel, and your skills are there. I think there's still opportunity for someone like that.
Yes, absolutely. You don't need an educational background in hospitality, but at least 2 years of experience so that you have an idea of what hospitality is about, what to do. And someone who has at least, even if it's not work experience, it can be internship experience for over, a year at least, so that you have an idea and people can train you then to become better. And again, there's a process. I know there are many people who are looking for jobs, but those who are willing to put in a little bit of work, who are committed, and who have the right attitude and the willingness to take their careers to another level. So we are definitely happy to work with those.
Okay, so for the listeners, regarding the opportunities Jimy has in the Jersey Islands, as always, as you said last episode, you can, if you want to reach out to him, you can contact us on hiprwanda.com. You can go to the website. His email address is there on the website. You can also email us at hiprwanda@gmail.com. If you have any other questions and you want to reach out to Jimy, we will put you in contact with him. So, Jimy, moving on. I was having a think about what the topic of the week should be and what I've been discussing, just because when I was preparing for episode 2, obviously the first thing I did was I looked at CHOGM and I looked at all of these side events, and I see that there is a cricket tournament at Gahanga Stadium. From what I understand, there's going to be sort of festivities there over the whole week, and then on the 23rd, it seems as there's going to be an exhibition match with the national ladies and men's combined with some other celebs from other Commonwealth nations, maybe some retired cricketers. Then there is a golf tournament on the 24th. I might have that date incorrect, but all the details of all the side events are also available on our website. And this got me thinking. I know you did discuss very shortly in our last episode. For those who don't remember, Jimy's the founder of the Thousand Hills Rugby Club. Where is rugby during this CHOGM event? And so that's question number 1, which is more accusatory towards you, because I thought, how do we not have a rugby event? But number 2, and most importantly, and please also let's discuss exactly what you are doing, like on the weekends, that event that you have down there at the Red Cross. And then I was thinking is hospitality and sport. In many countries, especially South Africa, sports tourism is a massive thing. And in Rwanda, we have all these sports that are kind of just growing, with cricket and the ladies cricket. I do know that the ladies team, I think, played yesterday. They played the third place playoff against Uganda. Unfortunately, I don't think they prevailed. But just to be able to get to a playoff, I think, that's an absolutely amazing achievement. And I believe that they are actually more highly ranked in the cricket standings as females as what the men are in the men's standings. So that's absolutely amazing. So firstly, Jimy, why don't we talk a bit about rugby and your side passion, and let's talk about that and how we can bring that into hospitality and just hospitality and sports in general.
Thank you for bringing that up, Clayton. And to your accusative question, I have no idea how I would answer that, but I wish I was. I wish I was able to answer that. Definitely, that's the question I also asked myself, because when you think of Commonwealth countries, and definitely you will think about rugby, because rugby is more. Let's face it, it's really commonly known in Commonwealth countries, and it's really widely played in Commonwealth countries. So it's really unfortunate that there's no kind of like an event for rugby. I wish there was. And as you may know, I'm the co-founder and head coach of the Thousand Hills Rugby. So Thousand Hills Rugby is a club, part of the Rwanda Rugby Federation, which is also part of the Ministry of Ministry of Sport and the Olympic Committee, World Rugby and African Rugby. So as a club, definitely we can share ideas with the federation, but it's for the federation to decide what to do as the umbrella of the rugby fraternity in Rwanda. So we did. I think you recall that last week there was a genocide. There was a big Sevens tournament, which is and previously there was a genocide memorial tournament. I think those are the two tournaments that were organized prior to CHOGM. I wish I could see more. I wish we could do something during CHOGM, because I'm sure there are many people in the meetings, in the summit, who are willing to even shaken up a little bit and get out of their meeting or their suits and put on a rugby kit and really have fun. I wish we could do something like that. I previously was thinking we could organize like even a kids clinic where people who are passionate about rugby within the who are attending the Commonwealth Summit could come and share their knowledge. They could see, many kids playing the women rugby, and they could see other rugby teams around Rwanda, and just really have something fun around it, where it's also good for the rugby exposure and really communicate the values of the sport around people in the summit, but also Rwanda and Rwandans who don't know that rugby actually exists in Rwanda to have an opportunity to see it. I hope we will do more. I don't think we won't have such a big opportunity, but there are definitely some Commonwealth games that are planned in the future, which Rwanda can also apply and participate. So that's how I will answer the first questions. But definitely talking about sport and hospitality, I feel like they really go hand in hand, because wherever you find a sporting event, they're definitely hospitality available. There's restaurants, there's service, there are like bars and breweries bringing their drinks. There's really nowhere you can find a big or a sporting event where there are no drinks, for example, or where the stadium is surrounded by different bars. We know where Amahoro Stadium or the Kigali, the BK Arena is now. You can see that there's a lot of hospitality businesses around it. And in rugby specifically, really, Clayton, you might be, you know this already, even South Africa or everywhere you go. There's definitely a lot of fun in a rugby club, where you find restaurants, you find bars, you find people dancing, their music. There's some barbecues. So I feel like sport and hospitality goes together. And I will say that actually, for example, there's no way, if we are setting up a rugby club, there's always a thought of having a a bar in the club or a restaurant in the club, not only for fans and supporters, but also the players. You know, you will have changing rooms, and after they change, they come, you know, and they share a drink after a game. So I see hospitality as something key for the development of sport, but also sport as a key for the development of the hospitality sector, specifically in Rwanda.
Yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. You know, especially look in South Africa, those two industries are hand in hand. We, you know, South Africans, if you, we can't have sport without a braai or, you know, a barbecue. We can't watch our Springboks without a drink and a boerewors roll. It's not possible, you know. So, and I was just thinking, the reason why I asked you the first question is why is there no rugby tournament during this week? And I just got thinking, I do understand that there is, especially here in Rwanda, that almost there are so many industries that are so young that there is development involved in. That makes perfect sense, and that's fine. But, you know, our national ladies and men's cricket sides, their home is at Gahanga, you know, and I would assume the national soccer teams will be at Amahoro Stadium. Where is the home for the rugby players? You know, where is the place where, you know, we can do a 7-a-side tournament or a touch rugby tournament? You know, an open space is fine, but there needs to be a home of that particular sport. Just the same as almost like, you know, we say, you know, within Kigali, hospitality has certain sectors. You know, we know around Ramera, where all the nightclubs are, we're like, you know, that scene's over there. We have the big name hotels, you know, where they are. Like, everything has a home. And I was just thinking, where's rugby's home in Rwanda? And I'm asking that question out of ignorance. There might be an official stadium, I don't know, but I just thought it would be really good to discuss that and find out, does rugby have an actual home? Does rugby have an address in Rwanda? And if so, what is that address, and where and how can we support that?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. And that's one of my big dreams, is actually to have a dedicated rugby field or a rugby club. As you say, it can be an open place, but people know that's where you find rugby. So talking about my club, our home is at Gatenga. It's Don Bosco School. So that's where any day you go there, you will find rugby. Another place where we do organize tournament will be at Cercle Sportif, and that's where you will see rugby mentioned on the gate as among the sports that is played at Cercle Sportif, but it's not like something you find there every time you go there. So definitely having a dedicated rugby field is one of our goals, really, and is something that we are urging and kindly asking the federation or you know the sponsors or the supporters like the ministry or Olympic Committee, really to get the dedicated rugby field, because I believe, like yourself or myself, there are many people who are passionate about the sport, who are willing even to contribute with their skills to help financially. So once we have like a dedicated place, I think it would be just a matter of a few weeks to make it proper, because we can do Umuganda there as the rugby community. We can make it, you know, flatter and put grass in. We have engineers, we can build around it. We can build a clubhouse, a bar, and where, you know, you and I and our families and friends could come and enjoy the barbecue and enjoy the game. But at the same time, also offer the opportunity for those visiting Rwanda to find, like, you know, like all the sport that they might be interested in. And as you say, cricket has got, you know, Gahanga as their home. You know, we have basketball at the BK Arena. We have football at the Amahoro Stadium and in many other places around the country. So rugby being played over 20 years, over 25 years, I think, in Rwanda now. So it's time that we have a dedicated field. So this is one thing that we are pursuing as clubs, and we are really encouraging our federation to find the means possible to acquire a field, and we will definitely find support for the building and making it a proper dedicated rugby field or fields that will even host different tournaments for the region or in Africa.
Well, Jimmy, I'll tell you right now, Hip Rwanda podcast will be the first one to pledge support for that. And I think maybe offline, you and I can have a further discussion, and maybe hopefully, God willing, in the weeks to come, we can announce a project to get rugby at address. Get rugby at home. It doesn't mean that we're gonna have 100,000 people there the next weekend, but just if you need to nurture something, it needs to have a home to be nurtured in. And absolutely. I think and then just lastly, and again, condolences to the national ladies team. They played so well, but a really, really good tournament. So great to see. And this is, again, why I was thinking about why doesn't rugby have a home? When I first got to Rwanda about 6 years ago, cricket would have been the last thing I would think that would be here. There is now a national stadium, a great stadium. I've played there. It's amazing. A ladies' side, they're doing so well. The men don't do badly either, and again, here we have a sport that is so young in the country, and it's just growing bounds and bounds. And then when I came down to the tournament that you guys put on, again, I see young ladies playing rugby, which is astounding. So the last question would be, how has your, what is your opinion of these initiatives within hospitality and in sport, where you see there is a country that doesn't just sort of get derivative going, well, this is the sport, it's for the boys, but we will put the money in the boy sports, but from hospitality to all other sectors and in sport, obviously the female participation is a really big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the mandates really in rugby is to foster that, and is really to continue to encourage, young girls to enter the game. And to be honest, I really want to give credit to the Rugby Federation now for what and rugby development officers around the country for what they have done to really develop the female or women rugby from grassroots, because those you saw, most of them are they started from primary schools to secondary school. So it's really, really good to see that it's growing, and mostly in rural Rwanda. Most of the teams are coming from rural Rwanda. Some are from the universities in Eastern Province. So it's really good to see that. And you gave a good example that cricket would have been like one of those sports where you think, it will come last because it's a new sport. And here we go, they have a stadium. I feel like, there's always a way when there's a will. I'm a stronger believer of that, because I'm a strong believer of that because I feel like, once you want to achieve something and you're willing to put in the work, you will definitely achieve it. And sometimes you can even achieve it sooner than what you thought. So there's many people playing rugby as, young ones, young Rwandans, girls and boys playing rugby. There's many people like you and me who played rugby, loved the game, and we saw the values of the sport in and outside, in and off the field. So if we put our effort together, and thank you very much, I appreciate that you will, this podcast also will serve as a drive to kind of like get rugby at home. I like the hashtag, actually, if that could be a hashtag.
Yeah. As you said that, I'm like, that's great. Get rugby. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so we can definitely do something. I'm not, I don't believe that sitting and just waiting for something to just pop in your hand. The world really doesn't work like that. In anything you will do, you have to commit yourself and put in a little bit of effort and work. Use the connections that we have. Use people who, I bet there are many people who even visit Rwanda and they don't know where to find rugby, when they would love to see rugby, or they would love even to sponsor. So putting our effort together can really bring the game, can really help bring the game up. And another thing I will say, talking about hospitality and sport, I think in Rwanda, we normally see banking or different other companies supporting sport. However, if you in other countries, for example, in Uganda, South Africa, in Kenya, you will see that actually hospitality businesses are behind the success of many of these sport clubs or sport teams. So I will encourage that some of the big hotel brands, some of the big restaurant, or let's say, for example, the delivery, the food delivery, the delivery services industry, like the food, like Vuba Vuba or any, they can really start to encourage, and get behind our teams, our sport. It doesn't matter really whether it's soccer, whether it's rugby, cricket. I will say that because we will both benefit from that collaboration. I feel like sport will benefit from the sponsorship and all that, but also the hospitality businesses will benefit from the exposure, but also having many people coming because they've seen they've seen their brand represented maybe in different tournaments in the region, around the world, or they will get interest in staying at their place because maybe the teams are talking very well about them as their sponsor. So, and there's definitely a benefit that both hospitality businesses can gain from this, but also sport clubs and teams and federations as well.
Yeah, that's so important because in South Africa, for example, I know Southern Sun, a big hospitality group, has supported the Springboks and South African rugby. I think they also support the Sharks, one of the provincial clubs. To be honest, I haven't really checked in with SA Rugby for a little while, but it is, and it's the reason why it's the topic for this week. Hospitality and sport are almost, the same thing, because like you're saying, a hospitality sector looking to invest in sport, all you're investing in is no different than if you go on Facebook and you put an ad about your room rates, because when you invest in sport, that sport grows. People come to the country. Like we just had the basketball tournament.
Yeah.
Where did all of those basketballers stay? So for the hospitality sector, and this is why we're bringing in sport on this podcast, is, we need each other. Sports needs hospitality, and hospitality needs sports. However, the sports are always going to carry on. Like there will be another women's cricket tournament, So hospitality, I feel, needs to support first. There needs to be that drive, and not just the, like you said, having some of the bigger hotels sponsor some of the sides, or, that's absolutely fantastic. But that also means you, the listener, the person who listens to this podcast to hear my restaurant review, because you like going out to restaurants. I'd like to know that you're also going to go out at least one day this week of CHOGM and go see what's happening at Kahanga. I don't even think that there's an entrance fee. I think if you participate on the 23rd, there's a fee there. But hospitality needs to start supporting sport. Hospitality's been here a little longer than what the sport has. Kahanga Stadium is a lot younger than the bigger hotel. So it should be that big brother, little brother situation where when an industry starts booming and is done well, it should start bringing up it's another industry that's gonna help and support it. So I think hospitality sector needs to take a hard look at itself, and are we doing everything we can to support the sporting industry, which is only going to put people in our beds.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rwanda is not just positioning itself as a tech hub or like a big summit or meeting hub, or even tourism and hospitality, but also a sport hub. Like now we are hosting some of the bigger tournaments in Africa, and with basketball or volleyball, even cricket. So we are also positioning ourselves to become, like a sport hub, a great destination, not only for tourists, but also for sport enthusiasts. So I think working together will just make it even better. And as I said again, both the athletes, the owners of the clubs, the coaches, but most importantly, also the businesses will benefit from that partnership.
Jimy, thank you so much for being with us. I know if I do not end this now, we're going to have another 4-hour conversation, which means 8 hours of editing for me. So, so let me end it now. I am, as always, eternally grateful for you for joining us. We'll hear from you next week. You are back in Kigali this coming Friday, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, safe travels, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy an amazing week of CHOGM.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 2. Thank you so much for listening to the Hip Rwanda podcast. Kigali, have a great week. Enjoy CHOGM. And everyone, let's make sure we are doing everything that we can do to support our country and our city this week. We cannot wait to hear from you. You can get hold of us at hiprwanda.com. You can go on there and leave a message. You can subscribe to us. You can also get hold of us at hiprwanda@gmail.com. And please subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. That's a goodbye from us, and have a great hospitality week.